What's up, guys?
Put on jail.
Hey guys.
Oh, all right, hold on. I'm gonna grab some water real quick. I'll be back while everyone's popping in here.
Hey Jordan.
What's up, man? Good to see y'all. How was week 4?
Brutal.
Yeah, me
How about
too.
you?
A lot of questions. I have a lot of it was insightful. I'm actually kind of eager to get into it. I got a whole bunch of fucking notes and shit.
You ready to go?
Yeah, I ripped through all the questions like it was homework and then was like, I need a break.
I've been finding like the first week I was like I just fucking slammed into it like in the last couple of days, but like I found the more I think about it and work week 3 and week 4, I kind of went back and back and back. Like I'd watch like a video a couple times and I'd read more and I think about it before I actually started writing shit. And it's been very, very insightful, very cool in a very interesting way, but also uh, enlightening.
So, do you want to go first then?
No, no, you gotta put me all down like
What? I mean, you're the
that.
one that I'm not doing anything. I'm just
You know
asking.
what?
You're
You know
all
what? Yeah.
excited.
All right. I will go down. I will
Perfect.
go first. I
There you
guess
go, bud.
okay. The boundaries. The
Mhm.
first like I have a question right off the bat.
Okay.
Can given this entire thing that I've gone over, can I have a question that can we truly ever be vulnerable, like really vulnerable with our wives,
In what
or is
way?
it always going to be like a conditional kind of thing just because of the way that they think, like their initial emotional response is fear, when they hear, like your story about you losing your job with your mentor and stuff. It's like that's the main question that surfaced out of all this for me on thought on the top. Can we ever truly be vulnerable with our wives?
Yes, you just have to. What, like that question, truly vulnerable? Like, what
Yeah,
is?
just like open up, just like when she asks, "Hey, what do you think?" or "Hey, what's wrong?" And it's like, can we ever truly respond and not trigger those wired emotional responses of a female, the fear, the anxiety that like, okay, he doesn't have this, like, or he's not strong enough or whatever, like their doubts. You know what I mean? Can we ever truly just open up, or is it always going to be
Well,
filtered?
here's what I believe we can't do. We like the ugly crying and the like the desperation, the I don't know what to do, I'm totally lost. Like that'll be very challenging.
Yeah, to me that sounds like panic.
Well, it's also just being completely vulnerable about what you're thinking and feeling.
Hmm.
So like
Okay.
when you're talking, can I actually just be totally vulnerable with her? It's a challenging question because listen, ideally, I would say at some point you'll get to a place where she's super secure and healthy and you guys are both in really, really great places and be able to have, you know, different types of conversations. But as a general rule, for like everybody that's coming in here, that's not the case for sure. Right. And
Hmm.
people in general are not going to be in that place. And women in general are not going to be at that level where they could really handle those conversations in a healthy way. So, is it possible? I have not personally experienced it. Theoretically, I would say yes.
Because my wife be asking, she wants it all. She's like,
She
hit me like a
doesn't know.
fire hose.
She doesn't know what she wants.
That's what I'm thinking. That's
They
what I'm
don't,
thinking.
well, they say that
I'm,
all the
I'm
time.
glad we're on the same.
They don't understand what that means because they don't understand what it's like to be us.
Yeah, that's also another thing I've come to realize through the first hurdle of boundaries training. Like I was telling Scott, like, dude, I got notes. Like
Yeah,
and this is
so
aside from just this is it's just aside from what I wrote down personally, just exploring.
yeah, so like to answer the question, can we ever be like just wide open, vulnerable? I like theoretically, yes, but in practice, like I haven't personally experienced that myself
Hmm.
because of what we talked about in that training and just kind of the way the roles are set up. It's very
Yeah,
challenging. It's very challenging as the position of the leader. It's going to be very challenging to tell them when you got shit going on that you're not sure you can handle.
yeah,
So we can let them in. We can let them in on the feelings and everything, but it has to also come from a place of, this is,
strength.
yeah, it's coming from a place of strength of like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to bring this to, my guys, or I'm doing this to solve this problem. I'm just not there yet, but I'm going to fix this. It
Hmm.
can't be from a place of like, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to figure this out. I can't fix this thing. And because then what it ends up doing is it puts all the pressure on them.
How does it put the pressure on them
Because
in that
because
instance?
because now they think they have to fix it. Because you can't.
Oh,
You've just
so
openly
you
admitted this is a huge problem that affects you. It affects your marriage. It affects your family in a negative way because you can't work through it. You don't have the tools or the knowledge or the ability to solve this problem that you're going through. And it's causing you all of this stress and anxiety, and now you're being short with her, and like it's causing all these problems. Otherwise, why would you guys be talking about it?
yeah.
Right? So now you don't have any solutions. You have no idea how it's going to get solved. So what has to happen?
Somebody's got to take the lead. And I
Exactly.
guess like what you're saying is like by their fear default emotion, like when they immediately like, oh, I don't know what's going on. So it's like, what's going to happen? You're unknowingly passing the baton to
Yes,
someone who shouldn't have it.
exactly.
Who shouldn't, well, let me correct, who shouldn't have it yet. Because there's been times where I've solved the problem and still been shaken like by doubt or anxiety. My wife comforts me, you know, assures my decision, and then I feel better about it.
Hmm. It's
So that's
different.
why I would say yet.
Right. It's different. Because you're talking about it after you made the decision, after you solved the thing, after you went in the direction,
Yeah,
right? That's totally different than being paralyzed by the fear of making any decisions or making
that's
the
true.
decision. Because then the decision, then you're putting the weight of it on her. Because you're like, I have no idea what to do here. Like, what do you think?
And also, it's like I don't even intend to put that on her. It's just like you said, it kind of just you're unknowingly passing that baton. It's like somebody's got to take it. And in a woman's mind, if you can't do it, they're going to do it, and then that's also going to affect how they're looking and viewing your reliability, strength, and you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. And this is what happens. Has anyone ever experienced this? Like, show of hands here.
Oh
Whenever
yeah.
you add something to her plate that she wasn't doing before, now she feels like she has to do everything.
Or she wants to feel like she has to take on more than what you're just putting on her plate. Like I can
Could
say
be,
something to my wife, and then
could
she
be.
could also it can bleed into other things. You
Yes, because
know.
now it affects everything. Now I have to do all of these things.
Mm.
Is there a point to maybe too, like when you're being vulnerable, especially as a guy, because you might not be too like familiar with the feelings that we're always searching for. That when you're trying to be vulnerable, you're not even really able to genuinely express what you're talking about. So you're kind of like bullshitting a little bit, and you're also kind of hesitant to yourself because I get to the point where you're vulnerable and like you're also then hesitant to really say what you want because you don't want to feel it. So then you're really not even putting it out there. So you're kind of just bullshitting her anyway. So you're
Yeah, I kind of tiptoe
kind
around
of
it too,
half-assing it anyway. You're not really being vulnerable. You're being fake vulnerable.
or dancing around it.
Yeah, and that like kind of leads to not, you know what I mean? It's kind of like being a liar. I mean, more like,
Yes.
and I feel
Not
like
almost so much being a liar, but she always says, "Oh, you're not being fully honest with me."
because you
That's the common thing.
you don't even know how to deal with it yourself yet. So maybe it's being vulnerable too early before you really go through it yourself is the problem. It's like being a
Exactly.
child. You're being a child.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's why the framework that gets described in that training is bring it here. Like write on it, bring it here. We'll all work on a solution together, right? And then you're like, oh, this makes sense. This is why I'm feeling this way. This is how I'm going to go about changing this. And then you can talk to her about it.
Does that still hit with the emotional aspect of it too? Because like that's a big thing that she asked for is the emotional. How are you feeling about this problem? Is a lot of what I hear,
Okay.
and it kind of seems at first I'm adverse to it, the answer, because I'm like, well, you're just trying to like weasel in more of what I don't want to tell you, or I'm not ready to tell you yet. But at the same time, it's like, well, she just wants to know the emotional aspect because that's how they operate. So I'm
They
kind of like conflicted.
typically what they really want to know is how you're feeling about them.
That's interesting.
Like when it comes to our emotions, the number one thing that they want to know is how we're feeling about them.
Like in a reassurance aspect.
Both.
Mm,
Primarily, yes, the reassurance aspect. Primarily, like one of the things we'll talk about, emotional currency. Emotional currency. So these emotional deposits of building her up in these different areas, right? That's one of the ways of being vulnerable, just expressing how we feel about them in positive ways, which it should be about 90% positive and 10% negative, honestly.
mm.
So there should be an overwhelming of like, here's all the things that I like and love about you. Here's all the things that, that you do that make me happy, that I'm going to encourage and I'm going to acknowledge. But there's these other pieces where it's like, okay, we have to have conversations around these things too. We just want to make sure there's a focus on the good. Make sure there's a focus on all of the things, like there's a building her up process. But this building her up process without the feedback on the other pieces of like, hey, when you talk to me in that way, like it really makes me feel like shit. Like it makes me
That's the
it
negative of taking on their stones that you were talking about.
mm, not this. We didn't go into emotional currency in this week.
Uh,
Okay, it's a different training. We'll talk about it another time.
I mean, it's
Um,
like similar though, right? Like, because
no,
it
this is
sounds like
different.
this is an emotional stone that I'm taking on unnecessarily, like preemptively when the emotional part comes up of a problem. Does that make sense?
Mm, I'm not picking it up because here's the difference.
Hmm.
Here's how I see this, just to so it's clear, and then you can tell me what you think.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
when it comes to the stones in the boundaries problem, right? This is taking on responsibilities of others that should be theirs. Okay, so like and anything where it's like that's actually their responsibility to handle this thing, and I've been carrying the weight of it, and it's holding me back from being able to move faster. And then the emotional deposits with the positive and the negative, this is this is how we have it's a form of vulnerability. Okay, it's a form of vulnerability and telling them how we feel about them in positive ways of like I'll of like writing them notes or giving them feedback on like these areas where I want her to grow. Like for my wife, one of the areas that I give a lot of feedback, positive feedback on, is whenever I notice she's patient with my children. Because it's something that she struggled with, and it's like we've talked about it, and it's like if I want her to grow in that area, I need to give her this affirmation every time I see it.
Yeah, if you want that flower to bloom, you got to water it.
You're watering the flower, exactly. So like
Yeah.
I'm constantly, and for a lot of the ladies, like one of their big things, like ours is I'm not enough in different areas. Theirs is I'm a bad mom. I'm a bad wife. Like that'll be a very common one that they experience, especially after you have kids. Like they'll constantly feel like they're not doing a good job at being a mom because all of the social media shit and all the other moms talking about how perfect they are and how they cut their sandwiches so perfect and everything's perfect, so they're constantly judging themselves in this way. So
Hmm.
that's the difference. It's like these deposits, but here's the thing with the positive deposits. It comes back to the weight of our feedback. If you're never telling her about the things that need to change or kind of having these more difficult conversations or avoiding them, there's no weight to the positive ones. There's less weight or no weight at all to the positive ones.
I heard the same thing with like if you were on a slot machine that gave you constant wins, it's like you're gonna eventually not care.
Yeah.
There's no consequence.
Yes, there's
There's
an
no
element of
contrast.
that. There's an element. There's an element that needs to be there because part of it is most guys will just tell girls what they want to hear to build them up in a weird way, right? It'd be like if she made you food and you didn't really like it, but you're like, "This is so good, babe," or like she's wearing an outfit that you're like, I wish you wear something else, but you look so good, babe." For us, I'm just honest about all of these things where it's like, those pants, like I don't really like the way your butt looks in those pants, or those shoes, like maybe we wear like the black ones with this, or maybe don't wear the jean jacket, or hey, this thing you made, it's probably not for me, but if you like it, keep making it. Then when the moments come where it's like, I love the way you look in this outfit, like this looks so good, or this dinner, I hope you make this dinner every week, right? When those moments come, there's so much more weight to them
There's a backdrop.
because she knows you're being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so simple. It's so simple and easy to overlook.
It's very easy to overlook. We get lost in the just her happiness, like her happiness, all these
Yeah, I want to make
things.
my wife feel good. I want to
Yes,
validate my wife. I want to affirm my wife and all these
right.
things.
But we also want to connect with her and be real with her, right? We need to be authentic with her. So those affirmations, they have to be authentic. They have to be authentic.
The same with the vulnerability. Like my initial question is like, can you ever be vulnerable? Well, yes, you can, but you have to do it in a way where it means something.
Right. Exactly.
Hmm.
That's the way everything works. That's the way all things. It's like can I ever be violent? Yeah, there's a
I'm in a
specific
place.
way, a time and a place, as well as a strategy that you should do that. But if we have never been trained on how to do that, probably gonna fuck it up in one
Or you fucked
direction.
it up by self-training.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. but we'll mess it up in one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
So with every one of these topics, there's always nuance and training of like, can I do this? Yes, but this is how you do it. Like this is the way we've found that works best for the connection and the health of the relationship and of the individuals.
It was very enlightening.
What else? Any other questions you got on this week?
Just in the like the mission stuff, but it was like more specific, like a yes and no kind of thing. But no, that really does put a lot into perspective what you just said. Because that was my most important part I wanted to bring right up out of all of it. Because I came up with that at the end, but it does answer some stuff.
All right. Cool, man. Yeah, it's an important
I'm gonna
topic.
think on it in a minute.
Yeah,
Just
think
give me a
about it.
minute.
Think about it. All right, who wants to go next? Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a rough week
Okay.
with this one. The distractions were coming at me hard and fast throughout all of it. I think I had to watch the one video like six different times because I'd get about 30 minutes into it and I'd be like, I need to process. There was an emotional dump there.
Yeah.
Um, I was running into like, I was just having a hard, like the stones and stuff make sense to me. The boulders are a little harder for me to process the concept. Just, I think because I've just been so hard pushed to just like carry everything. I've always had to carry everything. It's like my marriage during my marriage, I was dealing with maintaining my marriage, dealing with two kids, and fighting the kid's dad over custody all at the same time. And my ex was just like whatever random shit she popped into, she would be all over. And I was like, okay, this is just another thing, another thing. And it's like these are the things I've had to do to keep my family together, to keep my kids sane, and to not let that drag down on them. So like boulders, I look at boulders and they're just another stone to me, like so it's hard to. There hasn't been a big one yet that I haven't been able to just suck it up, throw it over, and keep on humping up the hill. Um, so it was a tough one to juggle to really get a grasp on it. And I still don't think I have a full grip on it.
Well,
Um,
here's a different I'll give you a different way to look at this. It's not that it's killed you and like stopped you from living life necessarily,
mm,
but it's stopped you from growing past a certain level. Like
yeah,
it's the things where it's like because of this thing, this big thing here, like it's caused me to not be able to get to the next level in my relationship or in my career or in this area of my life per se.
yeah. Um, I'm still just having a hard grasp because I know what's stopping me from moving. I just don't know how to get around it. Most of what's killed me is my slowdown points. What kills my growth sometimes really is just the sheer. It's probably fear of like, well, I have to give something up in order to take that step, and that thing I have to give up is all the security and familiarity of everything I have right now to do something absolutely different. And I can never, not I can't ever, but I haven't been able so far to say fuck it and make that next step forward. And there's like a series of things I need to do that. And I also just can't ramp, I haven't been able to ramp up to do those things. There's always a distraction. There's always another thing, or like, oh man, today was just too exhausting. I can't put time into this right now, or something. Like so. It for me, I don't think the boulders have been other people's shit. I think it's mine and my lack of understanding. And I guess that's the point where the point of the lesson is I got to start pushing out to other people to help me get the thing rolling.
You're the boulders are yours.
Yeah,
The stones are other. We're like if we're helping someone else with a boulder, it's normally like not always, but like that's normally a good like they can't do this on their own. So
yeah,
this is the proper place to provide help because it's not necessarily enabling. This is like they need our help. They can't handle this one on their own. Versus the
yeah,
stuff where it's like, no, like I can't do that for you. This is something you got to take on yourself and learn the lessons that you learn. So you're right. The boulders are very much our shit.
yeah. I think the struggle then is for me is I've grabbed other people's boulders and humped them up hills and then neglected my own.
Yes.
Not even stones. I'm like flat out like that's the thing somebody needed help with and I just took it away. Um, like it was interesting the conversation you were having about like the just with Jordan about like the little buildups for our women and stuff like that. I raised two girls and that sort of became a habit for me, like being able to be honest and do it that way. So I've never had a problem with those kind of things. My daughters, my exes, things like that. It's like yeah, that doesn't work for you. This is a better thing, or I like this outfit better. Those kind of pumps, those I've always been good with. But it's like when those big issues come along, I've always just like, oh, that's a big, huge problem. Let me throw that in a second. Just Sisyphus it right up the hill without the rollback. So that's been the stone in my cross, so to speak, that I've been choking on like through this whole lesson. It was just like how to how to let go of everybody, like be there for the assistance with the boulders, but not take the whole friggin' problem on, and honestly, how to dig in deeper to get help with mine. And I feel like part of the reason I don't want or I won't reach for the help is a lot of the times when I've reached for help is when I've lost people.
Hmm.
Like when those boulders came along for me, there's three or four people that I can count on for like true support on it. But for the most part, like, my divorce rolled around. All the friends I'd had for 2, 3 years just up and fucking disappeared because, their wives got involved with my wife and, like it was the girls against the guys and the guys were like, we're not fucking our marriage for you. So they all just up and cleared out. And my default maneuver is, well, fuck it. I'll handle it. Go full hermit mode, dig in, work hard, get my shit taken care of, and then come back and start it over again. So I burn bridges and I burn bridges so I can't go back, and then I just keep trucking. Um, and it's left me in a spot where I'm at right now, where it's like I have two or three solid friends, but they're all kind of remote because they've moved away. They all have their lives, and I don't have that circle. My circle's a dot. So who am I going to ask? There's one or two guys I talk to at work on the regular, and like we all have a good time, and like we can rally on a couple smaller things, but if they're not people I would say I would trust with shit. And I think that's part of what slows me down with the group as well. Like going into the fun chat is like I've been in there two or three times, and there's conversations going on, and I'm just like, like I just like, yeah, I'm not like it's just hard to jump into. Like it's just
Mhm.
never been my shtick.
Well, and you've always kind of struggled with the group conversations, right? Just
Yeah.
in general, from what I remember, like there seems to be whenever there's a group that seems to always get to a point where you're like, I feel like I need to walk away now.
Well, it's like it feels like I walk into a group that's already has an established familiarity. So trying to get that first foot in to start ramping up into that has always been very difficult. Um, and part of it, I think, is really I don't want to put on the is I realize I do the performance maneuver and I don't want to do that. So then I just sit and watch for a while, and it's like I lose the motivation to engage, or I just can't find the spot to fit into it. So that's been that's been one of the weird things with carrying stones, the stones versus the boulders kind of things, and the level of vulnerability is like trying to find that in groups, which is yeah.
Which is why
So
you're,
that's
which
why
is part of why you're here.
yeah, it's part of why I'm here and part of why this lesson just really freaking hurt. It's like the first 3 weeks is like, oh, it's homework. I got this stuff. I know this. This stuff I can nail down. You're like, okay, there's some ouchy moments here, but I can speed bump my way through this. This one was just like hard breaks, hitting all the hitting all the soft spots. It was
Good, good. We'll have these weeks.
yeah, it's just trying to find the right point to engage, I guess, with the vulnerability thing. Like I never seem to have it with partners. I always have it with if anything, I over vulnerable. So I guess that's part of it too, is trying to find the balance with the right timing and, like you said, having the solution instead of trauma dumping, I suppose.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a bit of a trap. They set the traps. Like Jordan, he was like, but she tells me she wants it all. She wants to give it all.
Yeah, give it
And
all after you already know what to do.
yeah, yeah. Well,
It's like, man, this
we
is
get set up. We get set up because we also come from that mindset of like, if I can just give her everything she wants and give her everything she asks for, then she'll be happy.
yeah,
And then we do that, and we're like, why aren't you happy? I did everything you
yeah,
asked for.
yeah, yeah. So this one was rough. This one was rough. I'm hoping next week's a little bit softer. I need a break.
There's a reason why, listen,
Why it's 2 weeks.
in it's 3 weeks actually. Rick goes through this part in a week in warrior training, but like I just after going through it one time with the guys in the beginning, I was like, we need way more time on here because it hits guys hard in different pieces of it in different areas of it, and there's so much to cover. I mean, we could do a whole 15-week thing on boundaries, honestly.
Yeah,
But we're going to cover like this first week is really just the identifying of, the stones and the boulders and like what even are these boundaries? Like what is
yeah,
this? And the vulnerability piece, because establishing boundaries is a version of being vulnerable.
yeah.
We're
No, it's flat out like like this is something I'm taking a stance on, and by creating that boundary, you're saying this is something important to me, and I need you to respect that, or I'm going to have to respond for my best interests. And that it takes a degree of vulnerability to express that you have that need and that requirement for yourself. So
exactly, exactly. And it's also what boundaries really are and why it's in these beginning sections. You're telling them who you are.
yeah,
like this is our boundaries are part of our this is our authentic like identities. This is us. This is who we are. These are the boundaries of me in these different areas of life and how now you can see like fully who I am in this way,
Yeah.
right? And that's part of why the boundaries are so difficult for a lot of us because we're like, I don't for the longest time, I didn't know who I was. I was just, I'm gonna be whoever I think I need to be to like get what I think I want out of this situation, which is most of the time just for people to like love and accept me and like me and maybe make money or give me the position or the role, you know what I mean? I had to kind of be like water where I could kind of shape into whatever best fit them. But that leads to all kinds of problems, as you guys
Yeah.
have seen.
Yeah.
So good. I'm glad this was a hard one.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I look forward to
No.
seeing how next week goes for you. I don't
Oh,
know if it'll
jeez.
be any more difficult. I don't know. So honestly, it's it's individually different for everybody. So
Yeah.
we'll see
It
if you
was
find.
interesting because I flat out got to apply it a little bit because I popped over to my cigar lounge this weekend, and there was like a bunch of guys there. A couple of them I've known from being in there a couple of sometimes before, and the conversation started getting really fucking weird as the night went on. There was I don't even know if I really want to get into it, but the
You don't
conversation just
have
started
to.
getting weird. I'm like, you know what, guys, it's time for me to peace out. And they're like, what? Oh, no. It's like, no, no, you guys are out of bounds for my taste. I'm gonna roll.
Good.
It's like I saw myself sitting there starting to grin and bear it, and then I was just like, you know what, fuck, I can just go home.
That's right. You're like, I'm a grown ass man. I could just leave right now. I don't have to endure
But
whatever's happening.
there was that self-conscious moment where it's like, well, I don't want to think I'm bitching out, like, but this is just like the conversation just got too fucking weird for me, and I'm like, I'm just gonna roll. It's
It's good. Yeah, I do that all
so
the time.
so that was, it was like it was cool that I could see like one of those moments where it was just like, oh, I could just apply this right now instead of sitting here and being self-conscious and worrying what they're gonna think when I pick up and bounce. It's like, oh no, fuck it, it's I can just go.
Hmm. And everything's okay.
So yeah, no, it was fine.
Cool.
So.
All right. Anything else you want to dive into on this one, or
No, no, I think I'm good for as far as the content for the week. I mean, yesterday Singles Awareness Day was a little bit rough for me, but otherwise.
uh,
But this week's stuff was good. It was just like I said, it was painfully eye-opening.
yeah. All right. Good. So, baby. No, I'm gonna be on this one for a little while, but mommy's gonna be home in a little bit. Probably like 20 minutes. Probably another hour and a half at least. Yes. Sound good? All right. You need anything or are you good? Go ahead. Do whatever you want. Okay. See you later. All right. Who wants to go next? Now that we got snacks figured out. Rob?
I don't mind going.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one, Scott. Bit of a head fuck for sure. I found myself also having to reread and rewatch the videos over and over, um, just to try and make sense of it all. Um, a lot of the things that popped up for me were the lack of knowledge that I have to set a healthy boundary. And I realized that I don't really know how to set boundaries, and most of my life has been just boundaryless. But on the plus side of that, having been going through all of this, I got to put it into play just yesterday. So that was good, just regular day doing my thing. And then family member asked a question of me, which didn't sit well with me, and I didn't want to do it. And I just flat out said, actually, I don't agree with it and I don't like it. So no. And they took exception to it. And in my head, I started to panic because I was thinking, well, shit, they're going to think I'm selfish or bad person. But then in the back of my head, I was like, it's not my job to care about their emotions or try and manage their emotions, and they can feel however they want to feel. So I took that as a silent win for myself, and realized that it's okay to say no and to put boundaries in place. And then thought about it for a little bit longer and then filed it away. So
So
that
you
was good.
survived the experience? Nothing.
I survived it. I survived the nothing. Because actually, like in the morning, yesterday morning, I was on the call with Rick, and he spoke about empathetic disagreements. So I took that on and I was like, okay, this is the perfect moment for me to try this. And lo and behold, it worked.
Yeah, can you explain to the guys like what that means? Because it's a good point.
Yeah, so like empathetic disagreements.
Hmm.
Um, so essentially, if someone's asking something of you and you have a certain feeling of dissatisfaction, dislike around that thing, it's okay to say no or disagree with someone, but having an empathetic response to doing it. So for instance, my response yesterday when someone asked something of me, I was like, actually, that's not something that I would like to do. So no. And then when pressed further, you can, or you don't have to, you can give a reason why. But it's all about doing it in a way where you're not being a dick, basically. If you're not going to beat around the bush, you're just doing it in a way which is firm, but you're not being a dick. Does that make sense, Joe?
Um, well, I want to be careful. So in essence, yeah, kind of like not being a dick, but that can get confusing as far as what that even means.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take it and say it's disagreeing while acknowledging their emotions or their
Yeah,
side. You don't have
yeah,
to what's validate their side or their emotions. Like it's like, well, I don't agree with you. I understand it
mm-hmm.
sucks that this is happening. I understand why you
Yeah,
want me to go and do this. I'm just not going to do that. But I
yeah,
get it. I get it. It sucks that that's going on. For us to do that, for me to do that, I'm not interested in that one.
yeah. So
Right.
it's
It's like
like this. Sorry, go ahead.
no, it just an easy one is like, all right, wife wants to go on a certain vacation. Okay. And I'll have to say, no, I understand. I would love to go on that vacation too. That looks beautiful. That looks incredible. It looks amazing. But we're trying to buy a house right now, remember? It's like that doesn't fit with our budget. I'm
Mm-hmm.
with you. We will go on this vacation one day. You really want to do this? We'll make it happen. It's just not happening right now.
Yeah.
Right. So it's acknowledging them while disagreeing.
Yeah. So someone once told me something which I still try and use to this day is this whole view that everyone is entitled to their own opinion, which is completely true. And I think it kind of hits this within this subject is the saying goes, that's fine, you're entitled to your opinion, just like I'm also entitled not to give a fuck, respectfully. So I think that kind of marries in like, yeah, it's okay. You can have your opinion and you can feel however you want to feel. I don't feel that way, but I get you're feeling a certain way.
Yeah, I get it. I get why you would hate that person. I get why you hate Becky. I get why you hate Donald Trump. I get why you hate Hillary Clinton. I get why you hate whoever
Yeah,
it is that we're deciding to hate on today. I get it. I see it. I understand. I
but I
just
don't have
don't,
to agree.
I just don't agree. I don't hate them. I don't hate
Yeah.
this thing, or I don't believe the same thing that you believe.
Mhm.
And oftentimes, like for people that we care about, it can that just that can lead to deeper conversations of
Yeah.
understanding. So we can understand each other and where we're coming from, but also know that we're gonna just like my wife and I disagree on stuff all the time. One of the biggest things we disagree on, just the other day, she's like, "You're always trying to save money." I'm like, well, someone's got to around here. Why don't I'm sorry about it.
Yeah.
Right? She just that's not her thing. She's YOLOing all the time. So, and there's many other things. Like we don't totally agree on everything politically. There's disagreements for the main stuff. Like we agree on a lot of things.
Mhm.
But part of finding someone like being in a relationship where it's actually going to work, you guys aren't going to agree on everything. You're going to
Yeah.
be filling the gaps of each other in different ways, so it's okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Another thing that I found really interesting on this one is the tying your identity to how others feel. And I think I'm really guilty of this a lot. Whereas, like, if I walk into a situation and, there's a weird vibe, it'll affect my mood, or, um, or you try and fix it. Whereas, it's not my job to try and fix somebody else's emotions or manage their emotions. Um, and equally, I shouldn't let those emotions affect me. Um, because I guess if you're trying to manage or fix those emotions, then it just means that you're uncomfortable with that emotion, so you're trying to manipulate them.
You're trying to
So that was,
control,
yeah.
trying to control and to manipulate, and it is a reaction. So a lot of
Mhm.
times we'll confuse this. This is a real tricky one that guys will kind of struggle with mentally, where it's like we think it's a version of leadership, because we're trying to solve problems, we're trying to fix things, we're trying to make everyone happy. But who's doing the leading?
Mhm.
We're not leading, we're reacting to their emotions.
Yeah. I think there's a thing in there that said there's a there's a difference. There's reacting to someone's emotion and then there's responding to someone's emotion. And
Yes.
they're so different. But when you say them out loud, they sound exactly the same,
Hmm.
but they're not.
Yeah. The reactions are our default settings where it's like this is what we've always done. This is what we've learned. This is how we've been trained our whole life to just react to when something like this happens,
Mm-hmm.
or when someone like this says this thing or makes us feel this way or they're feeling this way.
Yeah.
Compared to a response is like, what's my goal here?
Yeah.
You know,
And I
what
think that it ties into the beliefs about emotions, like you were saying, they're good or bad. No, they're just emotions. You can't tie an outcome or whatever to an emotion. It's just an emotion. It's like you said, they're fluid. It's flowing. So it's going to come. The emotion's going to come, but it's going to go too. So how you respond rather than reacting to that emotion is, how you're going to get through it. And then, like, I've been going through this thinking, what emotion do I label as bad? Where did it come from? I'm like, well, anger, I associate that with just bad. So then I will suppress my anger, which is no good for anyone. Because then you get to a point and then you pop your lid and all the toys come out of the basket. Sadness and sadness, anger, and excitement for me are bad emotions. As a kid, I was told it's, don't be like your dad because he's always angry. You don't want to be like that. Don't be sad because no one likes a sad guy. Don't be excited because, you need to be a certain way and be respectful and quiet as a kid. So that ties into all of that, I guess, the fluid flow of the emotions and the responding to everyone else's emotions and reactions, I guess, because people react.
It's a projection of our own inability to handle our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything that we suppress inside of ourselves, we will be uncomfortable and try to change in others.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like Scott said, this has been a really tough week. But I feel like I've been getting a lot of snippets of really good hits on where I'm going wrong and trying to fix and put certain practices into play to try and change those. Yeah.
Good, man. Good. So it's starting to make sense, starting to come together a little bit.
Starting to come together a little bit. Communications are opening. More talking is happening. More listening is happening. More understanding. So that's good.
Good. Good. So you guys are beginning to connect a little bit more?
Yeah, I think like this week maybe was a turning point. I'm not saying it's all good, but it's it's a turning point.
Why do you say that? Like is there a moment? Is there like you're saying turning point with just you and your mindset or you and your relationship with her?
Both. Yeah, definitely both. Yeah. Just like the whole boundaries thing, like, okay, like I'm feeling a certain way. Right now, I don't feel like expressing it or talking about it because I don't have the words to formulate it and I don't want to react to a situation. So I'm just going to say for now, I'm going to not talk about it and then we can come back to it. But if you've got something you want to say, I'm here to listen. Not that I can, if you need me to do anything. Do you need me to do anything? No? Cool. I'm out.
Good.
Yeah.
So you're no longer reacting to her shit.
I'm trying.
I know it's tough. They're masters. They're masters.
They are.
Especially
in my head, I'm always thinking, okay, don't react because this could potentially be a trap.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. And she knows all of your traps.
Oh yeah. But yeah, just also just trying to like maybe own my shit a bit more.
Yeah.
And not trying to dismiss or justify my bad behavior, reactions, blah, blah, blah.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Because as soon as we start defending and justifying, it's not coming from a place of strength. No, it just makes us
trying to control.
Yeah. It's control and insecurity. Mm-hmm. All right, good. You're seeing it. You're starting to see it. Good.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, keep us updated. Let us know if you need anything. We'll continue on the boundaries journey here.
Yeah.
So next week, by the way, the goal for next week will be just defining the boundaries in your relationships. So your romantic relationship, your family dynamics with your children, with your work, with your friends, just like what are the boundaries and borders? Okay. And basically the boundaries are things that have nuance and it's like, all right, if this gets crossed, we have to have a conversation because there's nuance to this. But if this one gets crossed, it's like this is actually a border. There's no coming back from this one. So
Mhm.
we have to be very clear on these. So that'll
Okay.
be next week. All right,
Cool.
Jordan, what do you got? You want to chime in on something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask something that I just a realization. So the what emotion that we all label as bad? I've heard this question outside of this group, and it's always be the same first answer, the anger. And my question is like, what do you think that is, JR? Like why has anger been so like stifled down in men and ill expressed to a point where it becomes a problem? And this is a problem that, like Rob just said it, I've heard it in other groups. I have it. That's the first answer that I have on that question.
It's the most dangerous. What can a man do when he's really angry?
He can go all out and kill somebody.
He can kill people. He
Yeah.
can kill
I mean, if
people.
we're going extreme,
If we're going extreme. So yeah, if we're just looking at all of the emotions, out of any of the emotions, which one is the most dangerous?
but I guess my
It's a
question is like,
man's anger.
why is that always labeled as the bad? Is
Because
that the reason? Is because it's so dangerous?
I think culturally, just society, like just uh, everyone kind of viewing what happens if a guy goes off the rails with his anger.
Hmm.
He can kill people. He will kill people. Like that happens. So it's very much you see the results of men's anger, right? But there's also a piece of it just in the home, right? How do we handle our children's anger? How do we respond to it? Because it's frustrating when you got a just kid that's pissed off because you didn't cut the sandwich correctly, or you got
Oh
like
yeah.
these things going on where it's they're clearly expressing anger and maybe like an extreme amount of anger over something in our head that's just this is nonsense. It's
I
complete
mean, personally, my son
nonsense.
is autistic. He don't speak. So it's
Mm.
like he expresses anger in very, very rudimentary and sometimes can also be nuanceable ways. But I've always just I'm just always just curious as to why that is the first one.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think the what I see is there's two pieces to it. I think there's this extreme version of what happens when men are angry that everybody can see the results of. And then there's also just inside of the homes, how do parents typically deal with anger? Typically just shut them down. Just shut them down. Stop being angry. You need to stop being so mean. You need to stop acting this way. It's challenging to have these conversations with children to like explore the emotions and help them understand what to do with them.
do you think you could turn it into a motivator, or is it possible as a parent, from parent to child?
Not so much a motivator, but a lesson because what we learn from anger, there's three things that we find that kind of trigger anger. Something was taken or lost. There was some type of injustice or unfairness, and a manifestation of unmet needs, like overtime just exploding. So more so as a tool to discover, like, hey, why are you angry? Like, look in these areas. Why are you angry? And then let's flip this around. What if you made me a sandwich. You went through all the time and effort to make me a sandwich, to show me that you loved me. And then I reacted the same way you're reacting. Do you think that would be fair?
What do
Well,
you mean
no,
that reacting the same way?
no, I'm just using that like a common experience for most parents is like making food in very specific ways for the children.
Hmm.
Right? Like if the chicken nuggets are too crunchy, one kid won't eat them, but if they're too squishy, another kid won't eat them. If you got the wrong brand of ketchup, if you got the wrong box of mac and cheese, if you got the off-brand cereal, you know what I'm saying? I think anybody who's a parent probably understands. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
was
did.
like,
I
yeah, I
did.
get that. So like they're very particular in these different ways, or mom makes it one way, like, and I make it a different way, and they're like, you fucked it up. Mom makes it so much better than you, and I'm not going to. It's like one of my children, they'll like she would get so angry that the chicken nugget was too crunchy, or the crust wasn't cut perfectly, or whatever it was, right? It's okay. Like I get it. You're angry, but let's talk about this. Let's talk about this and let's understand like why you're angry and flip. It's a check of our morality. For us personally, we can do the same thing where it's like, does it really make sense if I flip this around and I was on the other side of this anger? Would I look at it and be like, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense why they would be angry. Or would I be like, this is fucked up? Like I just did something to try and help you and serve you, and you're yelling at me. Does that make sense?
Kind of. I mean, like I asked about anger being a motivator because it has been one in me. Like I get pissed off at something. It's like, okay, well, what am I going to do about it?
Sure.
And then you go about excessively motivating yourself to fix the problem. But at the same time, it's like my anger has also just like, very commonly, and many other guys that I'm sure in this room can attest that, your anger turned around and bit you in the ass and you threw a hand grenade in your garden, as Rick
Mhm.
likes to say.
Mhm. Yes.
So it's like it's just so common to me. My question was just like, what is that? Is that something just ingrained in men?
Well, it's like how are we
Like
trained
the
to
bad
respond to our
emotion,
anger?
well, to look at
It is
anger.
trained
Like
in men.
everybody looks
It
at it,
is
everybody says it's
specifically
bad.
it's more specifically trained in men
Mm,
because it's the consequences of a man who doesn't know how to respond to his anger are much dire, much more consequential than a woman that doesn't know how to control her anger. Like
that's true.
a majority of women that are murdered, like here in America, is by their husbands. So that's a real thing,
Yeah.
you know? So it's that's I think that's where it comes from. Just this is just my perspective, my opinion. I haven't really done a ton of thinking on it, but just off the rip,
I
like
mean,
what I see.
I've had psychiatrists. I mean, we can go on a whole other tangent on how their views is and stuff. But it's just like I've been told like all kinds of bad things about anger and the negative and the you know having psychopathic tendencies and disassociation and all these buzzwords and things. And looking into it, it's like, well, yeah. But I also know a lot of other guys that look at it the same way that I do. It's like that anger part, that all of these buzzword parts, it's a bad thing when it's just part of us. And I don't know, I think I'm just kind of an outlier. I look at it
It's
like it
it
can be a
just
positive. It just depends on you.
every one of the emotions can be good or bad. It's how you respond to them. Because
Mm.
anger, what I was trying to explain is like anger should when you feel anger, there's a reason, and you should understand exactly what that reason is. right? Something is taken or lost, some type of injustice has been done to you, or some type of unfairness, or this manifestation of unmet needs that's been going on in your relationships. So, like, why am I angry? We have to get very clear on that because then, like you said, what can I do about this?
Yeah.
How should I respond to this is the right question. Is there anything I can do about this?
Yeah. This is more just a personal motivator. It can be. Yes.
Well, it certainly can be to, you know, to point you in a direction as far as, these are the conversations that need to be had. This is maybe a part of my purpose and my passion in life because I think this thing is really unfair and I want to help. I want to create solutions for this thing, or this thing is like this is an injustice that's happening in our world and I want to change that. Or this is being taken from these people and I want to, fix that. Or inside of my relationship, like I'm not getting my needs met. I need to figure out a solution to change that.
I guess it just gets so primal it can become complicated. Yeah.
It's not that complicated.
I mean, it can get.
We complicate it because we don't know how to handle it. Because we don't know what's happening, and we just are leaning on our past experiences and training of like, I'm angry, I'm gonna go break stuff, I'm gonna yell at somebody, I'm gonna throw a grenade in the room,
Yeah.
which isn't the right thing to do.
Huh.
It's like when someone starts yelling at us. After a little while, gut reaction is the yell back.
Yeah.
That's mine at least. Like if someone's yelling and they're not calming down, I'm gonna start yelling to interrupt. It's my gut reaction. Is that the right thing to do? No. I'm trying to control them to make them stop yelling because I don't like the way they're yelling.
No, I totally get that. I work armed security at a casino, and I mean, I deal with all kinds of, yeah, all kinds of extremes. So it's like I
Mhm.
do definitely get that. Yeah, that is absolutely true, guys. That is absolutely true.
Yeah. Does that help? Does that answer your question?
No, it absolutely does. No, it does.
All right, cool. All right, Chris, what do you got, man?
Yeah, when going through the training, I realized a lot of some of the stuff I actually went through. Like the kind of the boundaries I've seen what it's like without having them in a relationship. It got destructive quick. It made it just be something I didn't want to have anymore and ended up resulting in me not only moving out of the state, but moving kind of. I lived up north in Jersey. I now live in down in South PA. So I cut ties with all those friends too. So I can kind of identify what's got on that. Just when things got tough, instead of just going trying to deal with them with help, I ended up just putting my hermit hat on and just tend to go into hiding until I figure things out on my own at least. Or did. I'm trying not to do that now. This group's kind of help with that.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. It's hard. I know it's hard to ask for help and to talk about stuff. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of times where like we'll just be sitting in here hoping someone else chime, especially on the open calls throughout the week.
So I
Like
learned a
hopefully.
lot from those.
Mhm, mhm.
I ended
But
up talking to Rick twice.
yeah, well, how'd that go?
Both he opened my eyes to things I didn't see. Like yesterday, I ended up pulling over off the highway because I raised my hand. I thought I could have beat the next person, like to be able to pull over in a parking lot or something. I couldn't, so I just stopped and talked to him about something I brought up last week.
and had a realization in the middle of it. Like I felt like I didn't deserve love in a way. And then I realized in my head that for some reason I thought I had to have certain things or had to be somewhere else or live in a different house or something in order to have it. And he made me realize that was a not an effective way to deal with it. Because if I find someone at the end of the finish line, then it's not going to be someone that I'm going to want to be around there if they only show up for the end of the struggle, which makes sense. So I got to really work on that one. But yeah, as for the boundaries, I had to put up a few so that way I can keep certain things that I want to keep going. Like I start going back to the gym.
Keep going. I'm just getting wild out there.
I was talking too much.
No, you're good. I'm not getting up and walking away from you. I'm just shutting my door.
That's all right. But yeah, I decided to keep one where I'd actually keep going to the gym, even on Saturdays, and kind of blocked off my time to where I'm going to do things that I want to do without giving up that time. And I've held a few of those, and so far, and actually, no one was mad like I used to think. I used to think people would get really upset or things would fall apart. It's getting better.
Yeah, isn't that strange how we'll just leave? We won't go do the things that we know we should be doing or want to be doing, or the things that we would do to take care of ourselves, just in case they need us.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to try to think of weird inventions or things to create that would kind of help solve everyone's problems, even though no one fucking asked me to, which would stress me out because I couldn't figure out how to make things work. And then in my head, just get locked in a whole pattern of trying to do that until I realized even if I did do that, it would only solve the problems in that moment and would probably cause more.
Yeah, what a waste of time, huh?
Yeah, so I gave that up, and I used to help my mom out a lot with a lot of stuff until I realized the more you help someone, the more dependent they become, and the more dependent they can become. If anything does happen to you, you make them dependent on you, you fall apart, they're screwed. So that taught me to help within reason. Like that time I told you when told them to go help out, I went to go help shovel the snow. They couldn't physically do it. That's the only reason why I went there. If they had someone else, I probably wouldn't have. Looking back, I'm starting to realize where I got hung up before.
Good. Do you have any questions? Did anything stump you or didn't make sense?
Like, how do you get to radical? How do you get to acceptance and grief? Like, I experienced it today, kind of quick. It was weird. It was a situation where I felt all of it go through in about 5 minutes, and I felt the acceptance of that situation. But I'm trying to deal with any trapped grief that I might have.
For what specifically? Like, what are we talking about?
Like loss. Like my dad died when I was young,
Sure.
that kind of stuff. So I think it might be still a wound that needs to be healed.
Hmm.
If it's something actively going on, then it's kind of easy to process, but it's something that's kind of got sealed behind doors. Now I got to go back and restart the process again, I think.
Yeah, you just got to go back in there and open it up and see what's there. You got to go back into the boxes of the denial, the bargaining, the anger, the sadness.
And how do you figure out which ones you're trapped in?
Take a look at them. Which ones come
And
up?
then whichever ones come up, just release them somehow.
we'll go through the training in a few weeks. Like we'll do a deep dive. Like it's part of the course material here.
Gotcha.
So
I'll keep that in mind.
once we get through all the boundaries, I think right after that, we'll go into acceptance and the loss system and we'll train in there.
Okay, I only brought it up because it was in one of the videos, like part of it.
Mm, mm. So yeah, when it comes to grieving, let's say the death of your father, I would just add like what if you had to guess, like which one of the areas do you think you get stuck in?
Sometimes sadness, I think,
That's okay.
but I've had like a kind of a lot of loss when I was young, through both loss of people that just passed or loss because people betrayed me in the past.
Sure.
So I got to try to grieve both sides.
So what are you sad
And
about?
I guess I didn't have the childhood that I wanted, or
There you go.
that's what I think you said before.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
have to grieve that.
So a big piece of that, what do you think the childhood that I never wanted, what
I,
box
that,
does
that,
that fall into? Denial, anger, bargaining, sadness, like which one of those does that is do you find that in?
the first thing that came to mind is denial because if I don't look at it, it was never there. It was never a problem.
Okay, so yeah. So you've been in that box, but now you're looking at it, right? So it's not that one.
It's one I wouldn't be looking at.
There, I'll shortcut this.
Sounds good.
In order to get to a place where I'm saying I'm actually grieving the thing that I never got, I'm grieving something I wish would have happened. This is a part of bargaining. Because what is bargaining? It's fantasizing about how things could have been different. When you go into bargaining, you'll find different layers of grief. The fantasy of how I wish my relationship would have been different with her, with mom, with dad, with our family in general, how I wish my childhood would have been different, how I wish school would have been different, how I wish all of these things would have been different. You'll find those when you go into bargaining of other losses.
I think that's where I've been getting hung up at. Thanks.
Bargaining is the place for you. So all of these wishing things, the what ifs, the wishing things would have been different. What the two questions you need to answer as you explore that is number one, they're showing you that something's important to you. Something is important to you. All right. So you can go into the values whenever you have a what if this would have been different. You can go into the values and find like what about this do I value? If things were different, why is it important that they would be different? Why do I care? Okay, so this shows you values. It also shows you how I will do things differently. So it shows you the lessons of like, if I found myself in this scenario again, what would I do differently? As well as if for the childhood thing, if I have kids, here's what I'll do differently. Okay, so those are like there's the values and then the lessons. Bargaining's a big one. It can take some time to get through bargaining to find the answers. You can spend a lot of time in there. It's the most productive one to spend time in trying to find the answers, honestly.
Well, at least I know where to look. I'm good now. Thanks.
All right. All right, no problem. All right. Hunter,
Yeah.
you'll pop
Uh,
in next.
yeah. Uh, Seeing boundaries is traditionally in my family. It's always even like a joke that My family doesn't have boundaries and no boundaries. Yeah, this
Okay.
is definitely a lifelong pursuit. I mean, it's, she keeps talking to my dad's best friend all week about a lot of stuff, and it kind of got into like a personal conversation, but um, he just kind of brought up for me like growing up in the household environment with all the addiction problems and stuff like that. For me, like start off creating boundaries by creating walls. I would just go in my room and shut my door and escape everything. So I had my own world in there. Literally every inch of the room, my bedroom was like curated. Like when my friends would come over in high school, if I like went and took a piss, they like knew like if they like moved just a picture frame like a quarter. They used to do this stuff like move it a quarter of an inch, and I knew I would come and rearrange everything. They're just like, like oh, it was like an OCD thing because that was my world. That's where I kept control was into that in that environment. My dad's friend was just like, I wish I would have been able to like get you kids out of that house. Like, it was just kind of like, if there's anything I can do now to you for us, like as an adult, I just want to be here for you and like help you out. There's nothing I could have done. And like your dad's my best friend, but what a fucked up situation that was to be in. So boundaries has always been something like we weren't allowed to have. I mean, the last time I talked to my mom, because I don't talk to my mom anymore. Um, it was Mother's Day, and she's like, "I'd really like to see the kids again." And I was like, she's like, I have all these because my mom makes all these elaborate like baskets and shit like that. She's like, oh, I have all these baskets and stuff I've been making for all the holidays and stuff like that. I just want to give them. I was like, Mom, like, if you want to see the kids again, you can't bring those baskets. You can't bring all this stuff. You can just show up and stuff, but you can't bring all these things. Like number one, like they're not little kids anymore. Like Brady's almost 15, Logan's almost 11. Like, and she like freaked out. She's like, oh, why? You know how important. I was like, listen, like I said, this is a boundary of mine. Like if you want to come over, you can, but you can't bring all this stuff and have this kind of persuade them with gifts and stuff. Like you can just show up and be there and be present, but you can't bring all these things and stuff. And then she literally said, like, well, why do your fucking boundaries have to be so strict? Like just saying you want to come see your grandkids, just don't bring gifts. Like, just come by yourself. Like for again, that's how limitless we weren't allowed to have boundaries as growing up. Like I was allowed to have zero, like zero. Um, and so for me, it's kind of like practicing on that stuff and knowing really what boundaries are is still very kind of like shadowy and grainy. So me and my girlfriend were having a discussion. We were just talking, and we were talking about um, my brother and his wife, who I mentioned it's my high school sweetheart, who I lost my virginity to. I dated this girl
Right,
for a
right.
long time. So she was just we were just talking something, and she's like, well, maybe like you ever think that they were secretly in love the whole time? And I was just like, I know you probably don't mean like kind of what you're saying, but like I'm not going to entertain that, even this conversation or that, because why would I even, as awkward as this whole situation is, why would I also then want to go back and think this whole huge part of my life was some kind of weird, twisted, like mirage of her and my brother trying to get together since I was a teenager. So it's like felt like maybe that was some way of like setting a boundary of, this is an appropriate conversation. I'm not going to be discussing or talking about something that really doesn't have there's no purpose to it. And like I said, like, I don't think that you mean to be disrespectful, but I am feeling a little awkward and a bit. I am feeling a little hurt and a little bit disrespected. And I don't think you mean that. But I'm not going to entertain this conversation because there's no point to it. And like, you don't really know me or us that well. And really, what's the point of me going back into time and even thinking about that? Like, there's no purpose. And she immediately backed off. She's like, no, like, you're right. Like, you're right. Like, my bad. I don't know why I just said that. I was just kind of thinking out loud, but yeah, you're right. I'll drop that. I shouldn't have said that. That wasn't my place to say something like that. But I didn't like freak out and go, what are you fucking talking? It was just like, I'm not. So I felt for me, that was in a way like setting a boundary. Like, I'm sticking up for myself. Like, I'm feeling a little bit disrespected. And I don't think this is really an appropriate conversation to be having. Um, and then today too, like,
I would ask on this one
yeah,
because I think there's a piece of this that whole scenario is definitely still a thing, right? Like it bothers you.
well, it's weird. And
It's weird.
yeah, everyone in the whole world actually, so me and my brother used to be really tight. We're 5 years apart. Anyway, everyone thinks, how do you deal with it? How do you deal? There's a lot more to it. I mean, there's a lot of him lying about it that really kind of destroyed our relationship. He lied and lied to our whole family. It was a hidden secret. So he knew he
Right.
was doing something inappropriate. Um, so that too, that really is why I have no feelings for the girl. And also, like, your high school sweetheart is supposed to be in the past, you know? Like,
Right.
again, the girl I lost my first kiss, my first virginity, you know, like, that's supposed to be in the past. Like, that's just supposed to be a memory of yours. And your brother's not then supposed to go and date. And they started dating because I decided, well, I left and went up to Boston, and they got together to talk about me leaving. So there's just all this really weirdness to it, right?
Mhm.
And like, he started dating because she was an easy person to date because she already knew our family trauma. So it's just like, okay, so it's just a very weird situation. But
Yeah, I
not,
think
not that I'm in love with her or anything like that. But there's just a lot of lying, deceit, and you know,
right. I guess on my end, it's when we go into like this whole conversation that she brings up, right? And it's like, hey, maybe what if they were just secretly in love the whole time you guys were together when you were younger? And it's like, obviously, you're like, I really don't even want to explore that, actually.
yeah,
I I don't know,
uh-huh,
right? I don't think how setting a boundary or just kind of just explaining like I would rather not explore that question, to be honest.
uh-huh.
I think it's fair, but there's also a piece of this where I think that whole scenario still has to be fully accepted in a way. Like I think there's something in there. Maybe I'm missing it, but I think there's something in there that it is like it bothers you. And it's not that it shouldn't. It's just that if it continues to be a thing for you, like truly, it's going to it's going to stop progress in different areas.
I guess. I mean, everyone is pretty much like, dude, you like handle that really well. Like, because most people are like, dude, I would never talk to my brother again in my life. But it's like, that's not like that. It's just, again, there was at that point, it's like, yeah, you broke like a man code in a way, but also your brother. It's like, all right, well, what else could you lie about? Like,
Sure.
um, like, why would you do that to your brother?
Mhm.
You knew it was wrong the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's a, he's a, he's a weird, but he's a good looking dude. So like, he always had a lot of girls and stuff. Like, there's not like anything like that.
Mhm.
So it was just an odd choice. And again, there's just a lot of deceit and stuff like that. I mean, it it doesn't bother me where we don't talk. Again, I work with them, like we talk, but like it definitely had an effect on our relationship. Where I don't want to go out and hang out with them, like him and his wife. Like, It's weird. Um, like there's like pictures of her in high school or, obviously I was in the next room, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, like on the refrigerator, like I'm in her prom pictures. It's just like, you know, um, yeah, it's a weird situation, but I don't like harness like hate or it's just, weird. There's not a person who doesn't think it's weird, obviously. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, when she said that, like, just saying like, well, maybe you should think about it. I was like, again, I was like, there's no point to going down that rabbit hole. But for me, that was like, instead of like, oh, like kind of just like being in, maybe you're right. Maybe there's just kind of like, no, like, and also then kind of being able to like just say, hey, I'm feeling a little disrespected on that case. Like, because you've only known me for 4 months. And really, what's the point of even entertaining this conversation? Like, why would you want to talk about
Sure.
that?
Yeah. Why are we going to go down this path?
Yeah.
So
Uh,
what from there? Like, what else were you going into?
well, then, too, we were coming back from breakfast today, and she was talking about her one friend. They're in her best friend's in like a toxic relationship, basically with some guy. They're always fighting, and she was like, I was telling Sam how like you can kind of like whenever I'm kind of getting heat, like you don't get lost in my emotions, and I really kind of respect that, and you kind of keep me grounded. And I was like, yeah, you can have like you can be sad, you can be angry, as like but if anything ever became disrespectful, like that would be, that I said that's a boundary. If you were to say mean, disrespectful, hatred things, like, that would be a timeout. Like you would go your separate ways and I'd think about it and, discuss the next step. And again, if you ever became physical, like that's it. Like you're gone. Like, you can, you'd be walking out the door. Because she's, talked about her, especially like growing up, in like Honduras, like throw shit at each other, and there's something called the chalupa, the sandal, the chapa, or some shit. Like it's very. I was like, you ever
Yes.
throw a sandal at me? Like I'm telling you, your ass is out the door. Like one. Um, and her like ex-husband used to like hit her. So like I was like, you can trust it. I'll never hit you, but you ever lay a hand on me, like that's it. Just walk out the door and never look back. Like that was kind of, I was thinking that's a boundary. Like that's just a border, I guess. But
Hmm.
yes.
Hmm.
So I kind of like, and she's like, no, like I would never, and I completely, respect that and understand. So just kind of like laying that stuff out there and being very, again, wasn't like an intimidating. It's just matter of fact saying it. Just matter of fact, this is it. It's just kind of no. It's just like I respect that, and I appreciate that, and I really that's what I kind of like about you. Um, and she's like, I think, I wish that her friend, she's like, wish maybe you get Sam's boyfriend to get into a men's work. And I was like, that's not how it works. Like, I can't get somebody involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has to break up with him first.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's gotta experience the heartbreak and then find his way in there.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. So for me, that's kind of just like, I mean, I really haven't had too many boundaries stepping. Stuff lately, especially with this new girlfriend. Especially because I've been working with you guys and been in this group. It's been kept me a lot more stable and steady, and kind of being able to see things and yeah, I've been able to control my emotions and my temper or my temperament, I should say, not my temper, but my temperament a lot differently. Um, yeah, and that whole confidence thing has been kind of like a 360 on, especially a lot of things. um, just be like oddly, I went out on Friday night because she just by myself to this. Like I was supposed to actually got my stand here for TikTok videos. I was
nice.
talking to my buddy who does a TikTok shop, and I was supposed to hang out with him on Friday. Ended up getting busy. I went to this bar that I always go to. It's like my watering hole. It's usually no one there, and it was just fucking packed, like crazy packed on Friday, doing line dancing. So like I was just chatting with people, and there was this girl that wasn't really hitting on her, but I was just like bored and talking, and like by the end of the night she was like being completely authentic. I couldn't explain like how like it's just like I just didn't give a shit as far as like what anybody, as far as like, what anybody thought. And she, at the end of the night, she's like, what the fuck is your deal? Like, I can't wrap my head around you. She's like, I've never fucking met somebody like you, because I was just like kind of like just being like just real, like almost like she was like a friend of mine, just like authentic and just kind of like messing around with her, and it was just like a really weird experience. I don't know. I just couldn't explain it. That was just kind of a really weird experience that night. That was just kind of a cool reaction. She was just like, she's like a really like, what the fuck is like your deal? And I was like, no.
Yeah, it's a weird it's a weirdly attractive trait.
Yeah. Like I could tell, like she then at one point, like her, like there was two people that like she, I guess, like they were talking, like there are other girls there, and I was like, I was like, why don't you go hang out with your friends, get away from me? And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, get out of here. And she just kind of like walked away and sulked away, and I was just hanging out. I'm like friendly with the bartenders, so I just like to talk to them all night. Again, usually there's no one there, so I was kind of pissed off there was people there. So then she was just like, what? Go away. I was like, yeah, go away. No, just like, she was not used to that.
Cool, man. What else? Did anything come up as you're like going through materials where you're like, okay, this kind of trying to figure out how to answer this better, or this one kind of stumped me? Was there any of those moments in there?
Well, to be honest, I didn't realize this was broken down in three sections. So
Okay,
I only
I
went
got you.
first, and then as I was pulling up and just going through some stuff before I got on a call, I saw there when there was two other fours, and I was like, oh fuck.
No, 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 no. We're just doing the first one.
Oh,
It's okay. We're gonna go week. We're gonna spend 3 weeks in week 4, so it's
oh,
okay. It's
uh,
okay.
not not really. Like the vulnerability part did kind of just struck um me just kind of with my ex-girlfriend, because that's kind of what happened. Like I went through this situation. Right, it was been last time. Remember, like she hooked up with the guy at the bar, and then I tried to make it right. That
Yeah,
same night was a night like that she told me, and we are making right, that my ex-wife calls me and tells me um, that my youngest tried to make a suicide attempt, and
right,
then
right, right.
she's fucking dumping me. So that was just like, holy, like, what the fuck, like, Um, so for me, that kind of just like pulled on me a little bit. Um, but no, I mean, again, like boundaries for me is like a very borderless system. So it's like definitely stuff I just kind of really have to soak in, and gonna have to really kind of eat up a little bit more before I can really bring it into any in-depth questions.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Well, yeah, take the next week. Next week we'll go into really defining some of these. So
Yeah.
take some time to think about it and write on it, and we'll figure it out together. All right, Aziz, you're up, man.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this one was pretty tough. Um, all of it really. I wasn't even gonna come today just because of it. But it was definitely very tough, and it just brought back up a lot of situations. I don't have a particular instance now that I can at least anything current I can think of as far as, me establishing boundaries or people crossing them. Because I work at home, so I'm not really around anybody right now, particularly. So unless I go to the gym or to my family's house, but I had to sort of just write down stuff that has happened in the past as far as boundaries. Like I've never really established boundaries per se. Um, I've had them, but I've never voiced them. So people have crossed those boundaries, but they probably didn't know that they were boundaries because I never really spoke up. And then like as a child, I had boundaries, I guess, put on me. if that makes sense. And then of course I had my sort of boundaries in my room, but as a child, I just had boundaries kind of just put on me. And so I think that's kind of carried into my life today. Then I know we talked about, or I read about like the stones and the boulders. Um, he talked, what was funny is that one of the, I don't know, it was a question or something, they talked about like, you taking on other people's stones. But one issue that I had is that I've taken on other people's stones and boulders at the same time. And that's really stressed the fuck out of me. Um, and so I've never been able to kind of deal with my own because I've had to focus on somebody else's stones and boulders. And now I'm stuck you're stuck at the end of the day with your own shit because basically trying to take care of somebody else's shit that you talked about, like the over functioning, like over helping or doing shit for somebody else that they can do for themselves. Um, and then with that, helping them with their stones and their boulders, at least from my point of view, I've never met, whether it be friendships or a relationship, they tend to always be, from my experience, very ungrateful that, you've helped them with all this stuff that they're going through.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like the big question, one of the yes or no's. The biggest one was for me was sharing my feelings seems pointless. No one cares anyway. I put yes, like yes, 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 because I haven't been in a situation where the outcome was positive. Me personally, the only person that I think that I can just let, as you say, let take your armor off and not feel any type of attack, if you will, is my mother. That's pretty much it. I can't really do that with anybody else. Now I maybe with my brother, because me and him are like this, maybe. But I would say it's definitely with my mom. I've done it in like relationships. It don't work. I From my experience, it don't work. I've tried to be vulnerable with like in past relationships, and it don't work, man. They for me at least, maybe I did it the wrong way, I don't know, but there's always some type of attack, or they will, like I've been in relationships where they're either, tell me what's wrong, and then you tell them, they attack you for it, or they find a way to make your situation about them. And I'm telling you what's going on at work or whatever, and you find a way to twist it and make it about you. And because I don't care about you, I don't care about you, I don't care about the situation. So we went from talking about my issues to now somehow it's flipped over to you. I don't, it's like some fucking mind game or whatever. But yeah, I don't seem to have any benefit of what's the word? Of being vulnerable at all. Like I said, only person I can be vulnerable with, just ball out in tears and have no repercussions for it is my mom. That's the only person I can do that with. Um, but it's like I said, I grew up in a household where boundaries were put on me. Like you guys brought you brought the example where you said, sorry, you said I don't have children, so I can't relate to you guys talking about children. But I remember you was talking about, you said, oh well, if the child is your son or daughter, you got to cut the broccoli a certain way. You got to cut the sandwich a certain way. And I see that now with my nieces and nephews. Like, oh man, I'm like, man, I don't. come get your son because I can't deal with that right now. Um, but I see that like, with him, but me growing up, it was shit, man. Either my mom cut it this way, or dad cut it this way. Either you eat or you don't eat at all. You go to bed. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up, that was sort of a boundary for me. Like either you go and eat what's on the plate. You had two options. Either you eat, either you don't. So you got three options. Either you eat and you go to bed. You don't eat at all and you go to bed, or you get a whooping and then you eat and then you go to bed. Which one do you choose? So I'm like, to me, that was a sort of a boundary being put on me, whether you have these three options. So like, if you don't want to eat your vegetables, man, you sort of start thinking like, shit, I don't feel like getting a whooping today, but I'm hungry at the same time. So I'm like, you kind of start kind of weighing in your head which one you want to pick.
Hmm.
Um, but it's those sort of
It's funny to me, like what that teaches the child, though.
mm,
Because what do you think that taught you?
you don't have a say so,
You
right? That's
have
how
no
I
say.
say.
You have no say in this.
Yeah.
Listen, I get everybody grows up differently. Everybody has different privileges to different types of foods and everything. But when I look at it, I'm not an expert at I'm not teaching people how to raise their kids. Okay. I'm figuring that out for myself. I'm taking classes on it. I'm learning all the time. Okay. I'll be the first one to tell you. But this is one of the things that I noticed. Like I went through Chris's Be a Better Dad program. It was very helpful. Um, one of the things I noticed is like we have to be careful of these things that we just do that our parents did, or everyone, other people are like telling you that you should do it this way. And you're like, no, it's super disrespectful if your kid doesn't eat the food that you make. And for me, I get that. I understand. There's an element where we do have to draw a line of like, dude, you're gonna have to eat something here, okay? Or you're gonna go to bed hungry. That's just how it is. But there's also this line where it's like, we can have conversations and figure out like, what do you like? What do you want to eat? Let's find something that is healthy that you like to eat. That way we don't have to keep running into this scenario because I want them to know that they have a choice. Like they have a say in everything and they're allowed to tell me no. We're going to talk about it if they're going to tell me no. There's going to be different scenarios where it's like, I tell them go clean the room. They're like, no. I'm like, all right, well, let's have a conversation here. Or we're going to lead into, but it's always conversation and connection. And if they don't want to do that, then then there's the punishment aspect of it where it's like take away the things that they care most about and go down that route. But for a lot of us, we just grew up, it was like what you think and what you say and what you feel doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's how it was. And you hit it right on there. I mean, at least for majority of stuff. And it kind of really, I mean, I'm better with my parents now. Like
Sure, because
I don't
you're a
know, I
grown
guess
up.
when
They
they turn
can't
to
give you whoopings
grandparents,
anymore.
yeah.
Like, and
But
they're
when
soft, they're softer.
yeah, like they treat my nephew
Yes.
like he's oh, do you want this? And I'm like, you
That's
kind
how
of look
that's
at
how
it
all
like,
parents are because they can see where they went wrong.
yeah,
Now all of the kids are older and they see where they fucked up.
hmm
They know they were too harsh on you.
I agree.
They've watched you go through all your shit and they've had conversations behind closed doors about where they fucked up.
And I've had to have conversations with him, both of them together and then separately. But I think that sort of carried in to how I see like just friendships and relationships in general. Like while I don't have or at least I have been programmed to believe that I don't have a say so pretty much.
Yes.
It's you do this or you either you do it, right? And you get punished or you don't or you get punished, right? So just even being in a relationship, I mean being at home, like growing up, it was it's that, oh, you don't talk back. So when how you just said like the communication is you don't talk back. And my parents were in the army, so it's either like my dad always says like you should either it's either yes sir or no sir, yes ma'am or no ma'am. And I'm like I can't, if you talk back, so to speak, you get punishment. Like where's the bill? So it's like when I guess that sort of carries over into like work or relationship where I don't get physically right hit right because I'm in a relationship, but I may get punished in another way. I've been in a physical relationship where you got physically abusive like that, but you kind of you get punished in different ways if that makes sense because you don't, at least in my mind, I've been programmed to, but you don't have a say. So if I do open my mouth and try to, let my guard down in different ways, it's I'm punished for it.
How
That
so?
makes sense.
Like, how do
Hmm.
you get punished now? Because you're an adult. Like,
You know,
how are you getting in trouble?
to me, it felt like a punishment. I remember I was I give you two instances. I mean, one at work, I had a manager. I was there for about 5 years. I had a manager. I was at a consulting job. So you have like your your base manager, if you will,
Hmm.
who's with you throughout the entire
Got you. Your
like
direct
time you're
guy.
there.
Yeah.
And then you have a manager when you're on a certain project. So every
Got you.
project you got a different manager. And she was just never there. And so we were supposed to be doing trainings on that project. That was it. At least that's what I was told. And so I was doing the trainings every day. And I'm like, well, shoot, I don't have anything else to do. I'm done. We have a call, me, her, and another guy that I'm working with who's on the project. And she's just going off, just going off. And it's like I feel like, I feel like in corporate America, you just have to say yes. You can't talk back if you're an analyst or something like that. If you're below a manager, you just can't talk back. And I had been yelled at before, and I'm like, man, I'm sick of this shit. So I got off mute and I just started going off on her. I've done this shit, I've done this, you haven't been helping me. Da, 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 da. I went off. I was like, fuck it. And then you can't talk over me. I'm gonna talk. I told her straight up, I'm gonna talk. I turn my camera on. I when I mute, I'm gonna talk over you because you keep talking over me or you cutting me off. I'm like, if you keep cutting me off, I'm gonna continue to cut you off. And we just went back and forth until she finally just shut up. And I'm pretty sure she went and told my actual manager. And I remember me and him had a talk, and I explained to him what happened. But they try to just that's one incident. You get in trouble regardless. They told HR. HR was like, "Oh, let's hop on a call." I said, "Is she gonna hop on a call?" He said, "No." I said, "No, I'm not getting on the call then. I'm not getting on the call. If she doesn't want to get on the call to defend herself, because you're not gonna take my word. Why do you want me to hop on a call to explain myself if you're already sided with her? It makes no sense. So if unless she's getting on, I'm not getting on." Another incident happened where, relationship wise, uh, as far as me being vulnerable, I guess the punishment for this one was more so like maybe like emotional neglect, if you will, or just complete blockage. Um, I had basically, and it hurt. It really hurt me to the point where I wanted to punch a hole in the wall. And I think that again, I didn't really have growing up. My only expression of emotion was I'm like, man, I'm ready to go to Taekwondo class, man. I need to hit some shit. Like I'm like, I got my gear ready and my uniform because I'm like, I hope we spar today because I'm ready to just knock somebody out. So that was really my emotion of release, but can't do that in a relationship. So it hurt to kind of keep all of that shit bottled up in, and I didn't know what the fuck to do with it besides like just be mad. Um,
So
I had
what did you express that got you punished?
I
So
was trying to
if
fix a situation that I apparently had messed up, and I didn't know that I
okay,
messed it up.
so here's part of the problem. I guarantee in both of these, you're very much reacting to them, right? They're coming at you, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm tired of just sitting here and taking this. I'm gonna come back at them,
Yeah.
especially in the corporate one example. I don't know, we didn't get into the details of the other one, but that one for sure, you're like, I'm gonna start fighting too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was just tired of it.
Right. But looking back, what's the proper way to handle that?
I don't know because I feel like either way I was gonna be fucked. If I would have been like, you know what, you're right. She would have went into my manager anyways and been like, well, he did this, and I'm like, I can't win.
Well, you can express yourself without going off on people,
Yes.
but you haven't been able to do that. Like growing up, you probably never got hurt unless you were loud, unless you made a big scene
Oh
of it.
yeah. Yeah, we had like I told you, I think I told you I don't know if I told you we had a family discussion like a couple weeks ago.
Right,
I
right.
gotta
Yeah,
raise my voice over all these people because they're not listening.
right, exactly. This is what happens when we're not heard. We speak faster and we speak louder.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. It's not the proper way to communicate. All right. If you're around people that like can't communicate normally, you don't have to communicate with them. Okay. But for sure in the corporate environment, especially when you're dealing with like managers and bosses and being in these types of scenarios, you need to be able to stay calm and give them your stuff. I understand if she like you go to say something and she starts talking over you and everything, let her talk herself out and then come back and say, "Hey, I'm trying to explain where I'm coming from. I want us to connect on this. I want this to be a good project. I'm just trying to explain my experience so far." Right? And then if she berates you and comes at you like that, you can feel free to talk to your actual manager, to talk to your HR department and say, "Hey, this has been my experience with this person. Does she do this with everybody?" It's a totally different way to handle the scenario,
Yeah.
right? But the person that gets out of control, or even if it's in a response to them being out of control, you're
Mhm.
going to be looked at as the bad guy.
Right.
But in all of these scenarios, the person that is keeping it together, everyone's going to look at them and go, "Well, yeah, they're the sane one here."
Well, how do you can you react? Can you be reactive in a sorry. Can you be reactive negatively in a I guess a nonchalant or an emotionless kind of way? Like,
A reaction is always going to have emotion in it.
okay,
You know what I mean? That's what it is for us to be triggered. Because that's what happened. You got triggered.
I did. I was pissed.
Yeah, you're pissed. Any form of being triggered into the control systems from the week two section of like fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, it's always like an emotional nervous system reaction.
Uh,
It's always coming from, I'm experiencing this emotion. I really don't like that emotion. What do I normally do to fix this? Right? So you're drawing on what worked for you at home still. What do I do when they're not listening to me?
Just raise my voice pretty
I
much.
raise my voice and I give them the business. I let them know what's up, and then they'll finally hear me. But that's not healthy. Like
Right.
that's not a healthy way to communicate in any types of relationships,
No.
right? So it's just recognizing, all right, I'm in this scenario. This person isn't listening. And for someone that's just yelling and speak, I don't care who they are. I didn't care if they were my boss. I don't care if they're like another employee, if they're a customer. We have to be able to, we're trying to connect and understand each other and make this better. That's our goal. Otherwise, why are we having this meeting?
Right.
That's what all the meetings are. We're just connecting, we're trying to work on this project together and make
Mhm.
it as best as we possibly can. So you can very simply just say like, "Hey, I'm trying to communicate with you and connect with you on this, but you're just yelling and speaking over me constantly."
I have to practice that because usually what happens is I just get very tense.
Yeah, you're
My
just
whole body
building it
just get
up. You're
tense. I may
building
start
it
balling
up.
my fist, just like
Take a
right.
breath. Because you know it
Or
happens. It's just,
sometimes what I'll do is
go ahead. What happens? Like, what do you do?
no,
Like,
I
what
was
is
saying
it?
sometimes what I do is I'll either do that, like explode, or I just leave. I
Sure.
just walk off. I just leave.
Yeah, it's fight or flight.
I don't have nothing else to say. Bye.
Yeah, yeah. Engage. Here's with all of our triggers. Engage. Take a breath. High awareness of like, oh, here I am again. I know that this is one of these things. This shit gets me every time, right? This is the stuff that triggers me into either running away from the scenario or attacking them. And
Mm,
neither one of those is going to lead to me connecting with them
right.
or us solving this problem,
Mm,
right? So it's high awareness of I'm in one of these scenarios again. I'm fucking feeling it happening. I'm going to explode and just taking a moment, man, like for real, just take a moment of awareness and just take a breath and let them do whatever they got to do.
okay.
Okay. Let them do whatever they got to do. And then in your mind, what you have to figure out, how do I want to respond to this?
That's the difficult part because again the vulnerability, taking on the stones and the boulders. My main issue is as far as relationships goes, friendships or whatever, romantic or whatever, is I don't if I'm helping you because I just want to either I want to help you or because you asked me to.
Hmm.
But if I'm helping you, I'm unless I don't usually ask people for anything in return. I'm just helping you because I want to help you. But my thing is one thing that really bothers me, that triggers me is when I'm helping someone and there's a big act of ingratitude that is shown. That's one thing that really kind of just again it puts me in the same situation and I have to, like you said, stop and think like um how do I respond to this situation?
Yeah. How do
That's
you
the
want to respond?
difficult part.
Well,
I don't
there's also a piece of it where you're expecting this.
okay.
It's coming back to that transactional thing.
Yeah.
Is someone saying thank you? Shoot, what's going on with my thing? Is someone saying thank you or, doing something to show appreciation? Like, is that nice? Yeah, it's nice. Do I need it when I give?
Probably don't need it, but in a sense now, like I'm programmed now, I'm thinking, well, damn, it would be nice or kind or whatever if you would say thank you,
Mhm.
um,
Here's
or I
what you're gonna learn.
appreciate it, you
If
know.
right, if you're looking for someone to appreciate you for helping them with something, right? You if it's a romantic relationship, like a close, intimate relationship that you're growing,
Yeah.
you can just let them know. You can just let them know, like, hey, when I help you with this stuff, like I'm happy to help, but one of the things that I ask in return is just some appreciation, just like some verbal acknowledgement of like, thank you for helping me. It's just an agreement.
Mhm.
And if you guys, especially if it's with a girlfriend or a spouse, if you guys read like the five love languages or anything like that together or have those types of conversations, it's like, hey, words of affirmation, like whenever I do things for you, this is something that is really important for me to feel loved and connected with you. So it's something I need you to work on your end. And these are the things that you need to feel loved, and I'm gonna work on those things on my end.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Well, then, how do you establish? I don't remember. It's one of these questions in here, but how do you establish that boundary? Let me see if I can rephrase it. I have, when I'm in that like fight mode, I have no problem establishing a boundary. Um, I'll just strictly just tell you. I mean, you can take it or you can leave it alone, however you want to, take it. But when I'm in that, I guess, calm state, there's a fear of, oh, I don't know how this person is gonna take that if I tell them this. Hey, I
Well,
don't,
well,
I don't appreciate
here's the
this.
deal. Here's the deal. You've got two paths you can go down. One is the path that you've been going down a lot, where you don't say anything
Yeah.
because you're afraid of how they'll react. And then eventually you get super resentful, you get angry, you feel like you've been disrespected. And then over time, once it happens enough, you go into fight mode and you explode and you express a boundary. And that doesn't work great, right?
Mm.
Or you can go down this other path of speaking up early on in the relationships, right? So they understand what it is like you want, what it is you desire, what it is that you need from them, what it is they can and cannot do inside of the relationship so that they know moving forward, so that you don't have to keep experiencing these moments of resentment and frustration towards them. They can't change something that they don't know needs to be changed.
Correct.
Just like you hop on that meeting with that lady and she's going off on you about all this shit that she never told you about.
Right.
How did you feel? You're like,
I
well,
was upset.
you ain't never told me about none of this. I would have been happy to do it, right?
Hmm.
That's the position they're finding themselves in. They're like, nah, you're yelling at me and shit. All you had to do was say something.
Hmm.
So you just have to realize that these paths, these options, which one's the better option?
Honestly, the one with I think just speaking up initially about it, just
Yes.
having that conversation, and then the other one, because sometimes I guess you might not get all of it out, but if it a certain situation happens, you kind of, I don't appreciate what you did there, da, 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 da.
Right.
Don't do that
Right.
again.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. I don't really appreciate like what you did there. It made me feel this way. And in the future, could you just maybe not do that? right? Just like Hunter expressed earlier, he's like, I don't know why, like us going down that conversation, like seems like a waste of time. I don't really want to do that. I'm kind of feeling disrespected that we're even engaging in it.
Yeah.
It's just this is setting boundaries is a form of vulnerability,
Yeah.
right? And here's what happens. Here's the beautiful thing. If they disagree, right? Let's say you put something out there where you're like, hey, I don't really appreciate you doing this. Makes me feel this way. If you continue to do that, like I'm gonna have to leave or I'm gonna have to walk away from the date or I'm gonna have to end the call or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
If they don't agree, guess what that means?
They don't respect the boundary, then
You're not
wow.
compatible.
Right.
Yeah, you're not compatible because you just said this is who I am. The boundary is this is who I am. Like this is the boundaries of me. Can you fit with me?
Mm.
And if you can't, then we're just not a good fit. It's okay. You're not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. It's just we don't see eye to eye on how we fit together.
Right.
And I can't keep putting myself in positions where I hurt myself to fit with you because I've done that before and it doesn't work well.
Does that tie into like, I guess, cutting people off of them either trying to put their stones or boulders or you or and you maybe trying to take on their stuff too, like that confidence of just like, hey, nah, I can't help you with such and such, or nah,
Yes.
I'm not doing that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. 100%. So this is why in it, like we talk about, start with yourself. All right. Like, what are the boundaries for me? What are the things I need to do? What are the things that I'm going to eliminate? Right. Like, what's my schedule? And
Mhm.
fill up your schedule with the stuff that you need to do for you.
Yeah.
Just normal stuff. Because all these outlets, mind, heart, body, spirit outlets, it's to get you at a base level.
Hmm.
It's not like you're this destroying the world because you work out every day and maybe you pray and you have gratitude and you connect. Like it's just getting us to a base level where we're not on edge, where
Yeah.
we're not like, triggered easily. It just gets us in a good place to start and we can grow
Yeah.
from there.
Makes sense.
So start there, set aside that time for you,
Hmm.
right? And then it's way easier to say no to people when you have like this stuff scheduled in where you're like, actually, I got to do this stuff, so I won't be able to hang out this weekend or won't be able to
Yeah.
hang out tonight or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Because you have an actual schedule, you have a reason
Right.
rather than just leaving everything open in case somebody needs you for something.
Yeah. That makes sense. Because usually I just not as much now, but before I would just even if I had or didn't have a schedule, I would just, oh, can you help me out? Yeah, I got you. Yeah, or can you do this? Whatever. I just kind of cut stuff out of my schedule to take on somebody else's crap. Uh,
Exactly. You don't need to do that. You ever ask somebody if they can help you with something? They're like, actually, I got this going on. Or ask them to hang out and they're like, I can't this weekend or that day.
all the time.
Happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
If it happens once or twice, you're like, oh, I get it. It's whatever. It happens every time you talk to them. You're like, oh, like, I don't think you want to be my friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because you say no in your sea of yeses with them, it's not going to change anything. And if it does, you know who they are.
Yeah.
The problem is we do all of these things to avoid really looking at who they are.
Hmm. That makes sense.
What else? Anything else on this?
No, that was it. I actually did have a, now that I think about it, I did have an incident sometime last week. I guess it was I guess you could consider it a boundary. I honestly didn't know how to reply, so I just kind of typed some of it in Chat GPT to kind of help me with the
Sure.
reply because I didn't know how to take it. This was with the young lady that I was dating sometime last year. We kind of cut it off, and then I guess trying to rekindle it pretty much had because she was just like, oh, let's just be friends. And from her standpoint, I'm like, nah, that doesn't work well. We can't be friends. We didn't already had a damn near whole relationship. But um, just knowing from my experience and then knowing her, I don't that just the being friends things feels like a way to kind of just use me, if you will. So I had asked her out on a date, but she was with her reply was just, "Oh, I think it's just better if we be friends." And I just like at that point I didn't know how to reply, so that was on text messages when she replied back to me. Um, I had pretty much just told her like it's better if we just. I pretty much just kind of looking at you from a romantic standpoint. I don't necessarily want to be your friend, but if that's how you feel, that's all good. I wish you the best. To me, that was a big boundary because I know how that little friendship thing goes, and that's just gonna
Yeah.
cause a bunch of problems.
Yeah. It's a
I'm
good call.
not a fool.
It's a good
Uh,
call.
so I think that when I was doing this, it made sense. Like after I read some of this, I'm like, the only thing is I just didn't know how to reply to in the right way.
That's
So
okay. You
I
can
need some
listen.
help.
Everybody, please feel free to use ChatGPT to come up with your detailed responses to certain things. It's a good way to get a framework of like, oh, all right, I'll just kind of change that. Like I'll write it how I want to say
Yeah,
this, but like this
yeah.
gives me a better idea of how to do this right. It's a great tool for stuff like that. It'll help you learn different types of responses to different scenarios. So, yeah, I'm with you. That's a perfect example, man. That's good. All right, let's wrap this thing up. I'll get the recording posted later today. This will be a good one to go back and watch after we get everything. I don't know why my camera won't turn on anymore, but whatever, it's fine. So let's continue. Next week we'll dive deeper into boundaries. So go through. You'll see in the one of the sections of it where it's like define the borders and the boundaries of these different relationships in your life. So that'll be a bulk of the work for next week. And then there's some bonus videos and stuff you can watch. Okay. So good stuff this week, guys. I know it can be a challenging one. So let's keep pushing through and yeah, we'll see you later tonight if you guys hop on the group call. Okay.
We do.
All right.
Yeah, guys.